From poisonous spiders to venomous snakes that can kill in seconds, the wilds of Australia are a dangerous place full of scary things. Unfortunately, not everyone is lucky enough to avoid the dangers of the diverse continent, and some, venturing too close, pay for their mistakes with their lives. Today, we take you to northeastern Australia, where a get-together ended in the death of one 43-year-old woman at the jaws of a man-eating crocodile. Hit that like button and subscribe right now. This is the terrifying crocodile attack of Beryl Wruck. Welcome to Final Affliction. It was Saturday the 21st of December 1985 in far north Queensland, Australia, and a small group of friends were preparing for a pre-Christmas Day celebration. They weren't planning on doing anything too fancy. They'd all known each other for a long time and they wanted to spend some time together before family gatherings swept them up during the holidays. With this sentiment in mind, the group organized a barbecue. At 11 p.m., the friends met at the Turner Butterfly Farm with steaks and coolers of drinks. It was a hot day, and even at 11 p.m., the group could still feel the heat. They got the grill going, and soon the sweet smell of cooking meat filled the air. Conversations and drinks flowed easily, and everyone was relaxed and unbothered. They congratulated themselves on another peaceful Christmas together and discussed plans for the new year. By 11:30 p.m., the 5 friends in the group decided to explore the woods. Their location was right next to the Queensland tropical rainforest, and they'd grown bored of sitting in one spot chattering. The rest of the group had nothing to worry about. After all, there was a lot of human activity around the area, and the 5 were grown adults. They were very much capable of taking care of themselves. Besides, they didn't plan on being gone for long. They were going to look around for a bit before rejoining the group. Maybe they'd spot a koala or other wildlife. The 5 picked a trail and wasted no time diving into the thick blanket of the forest. Soon, they spotted a boardwalk that cut through the jungle, and they decided to follow it. A few minutes of walking brought them to a private dock overlooking Barratt Creek, a stream of water from the Daintree River. The sight of the dock sent their plans of going back down the drain. The 5 friends sat on the pier and started a new conversation, enjoying the night air as they talked and laughed. A single lamppost hanging above their heads gave them plenty of light, and they were perfectly content with their present arrangement. 11:30 p.m. turned to midnight, but the conversation hadn't yet dwindled. One of the 5, Maurice Mealing, suggested they hop into the water to cool off. The weather was still warm and they trekked there, so it was reasonable that a dip in the creek was warranted. The Daintree River is home to an ever-growing population of crocodiles, and northeastern Australia is commonly known as croc country. The friends knew this. They were all aware that their spot was close to the mouth of the Daintree, where the river opens to the Coral Sea, and as the tides made the waters rise and fall, bull sharks swam into the river looking for whatever lowly animal dared to tread the waters. The sharks were scary enough, but crocodile attacks are 100 times deadlier than shark attacks. Sometimes sharks approach humans out of curiosity and get spooked into biting. Crocodiles have one mission in mind when they approach their prey, and that is to kill. The group stayed where they were, but getting into the water was a tempting prospect. The tides were low, so it was only a few feet deep, and that ruled out the possibility of sharks. Additionally, the water's surface was still, like a blank slate. There didn't seem to be any impending danger, and it was easy for anyone to walk in and wade about. If there was any danger, they could surely spot it and get away in time. With those thoughts in mind, Maurice steeled his conviction and got into the water. He stayed close to the edge, did a quick lap around the water, then hurried right back out like someone was hot on his heels. Even though the night was hot, Maurice was suddenly shivering. Being in the water filled him with a strong sense of dread. Every nerve ending in his body was drawn taut, and goosebumps prickled his flesh. The worst part was he couldn't even explain why he suddenly wanted to get the heck out of there. Something just felt off, and he couldn't put his finger on what it was. Trying to keep his emotions in check, Maurice told his 3 friends to stay out of the water. They were still chatting on the docks, and they were better off staying put for the remainder of the evening. Unfortunately, seeing Maurice in the water filled the rest of them with the courage to sink their feet into the cool water. Considering how calm the water remained, the tide still low, and Maurice had just gone in and come out unscathed, they wanted to dip in the pleasant water as well. Whatever predators beneath the surface were indeed far away, and again, they could simply spot the danger and get out fast enough. Quick to get into the water next were friends John and Rob, followed closely by the 43-year-old shopkeeper, Beryl Wruck. John and Rob effortlessly got into the murky black water and remained chatting close to the dock even though they did not want to go further. Maurice and his wife Selena remained in the safety of the jetty, enjoying the view from there while Beryl waited around in the water. It seemed like the perfect night. Just 5 friends having fun. What could go wrong? Unbeknownst to the group, Maurice's intuition was spot on. A deadly beast was hunting them. In the blackness of the night and the stillness of the water, just out of reach of the lamp's soft glow, lay a massive crocodile. In the darkness, the animal had no problem camouflaging with its surroundings. It remained hidden below the surface of the water, away from the weak scope of unsuspecting human eyes. Its movements were calculated so as not to shake the waters, and it had its sights set on the group, its dinner. Slowly, patiently, the predator moved closer to its prey. John and Beryl were being hunted, and they didn't even know it. Suddenly, the night went still. Insects and scurrying nocturnal animals in the rainforest fell silent as if they knew what would happen next and were holding their breaths in morbid anticipation. A shiver ran down John's spine, and dread covered him like a cold blanket on an even colder day. It was the same feeling Maurice had just felt moments earlier. John wasn't exactly sure it was either. He knew he had to get out of the water immediately. He scrambled for the dock, reaching up to hang on the wooden podium, but before he could even lift himself, the water exploded all around him, and the force sent him flailing and falling into the water. Water shot up his nostrils, in his mouth, and into his eyes. In his confusion and panic, he couldn't see what was going on, but his friends on the dock could, and what they saw before them was a gruesome sight. Before them was a humongous crocodile, standing about 17 to 18 feet in length, and it had its teeth sunken into Beryl's flesh. Her face was a mask of pure terror. Her eyes were wide and her mouth was open as if she wanted to scream, but had suddenly forgotten how. The crocodile dragged her beneath the water's surface before she could even try to let that scream out. It was the 22nd of December, 1985, and Beryl Wruck was gone, never to be seen again. Beryl's friends were not only left mentally and emotionally scarred for life, but they were also left with the heavy burden of telling others what had happened to the poor woman and the guilt of their actions. If only they had remained on the farm with the others, or at least chatted until midnight before returning, maybe she would have still been alive. A few weeks later, a giant croc was killed nearby. The crocodile was dubbed Big Jim, and found in its stomach was the arm of a female human. In 1985, DNA science was not fully developed, so it was assumed that the arm belonged to the 43-year-old shopkeeper, Beryl Wruck. Crocodile attacks are more frequent than shark attacks because foolish humans constantly ignore all warnings and wander into croc territory. Beryl's tragic story serves as an important lesson. Never swim in strange waters, especially not at night. And never mess with nature, because nature won't hesitate to bite back, leading to your unfortunate final affliction.